are the prey, we are the hunter. Without knowing the names of the trampled flower, the fallen bird awaits the wind. Prayers won't change anything.
No,
What you
no,
need,
no, no, no.
what,
That's not how it goes, man.
what's wrong?
That's not how it goes, man. You're ruining it.
No, I got it from the official website of
No,
Attack
no,
on Titan.
no, man, no. I don't trust Otaku type. Let me try. Let me try. I have my own lyrics right over here. We are the prey and they are the hunters. Without knowing the name of the trampled flower, the fallen bird awaits the wind. Prayer won't change
Oh
anything.
my god.
What?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
What?
Huh?
No, we are reading the lyrics for the Attack on Titan, it's a good intro.
Whatever. Just let the official people do it. It sounds much better in Japanese anyway.
Welcome to Vassals of Kingsgrave. This is our review of Shingeki no Kyojin or Attack on Titan, an award-winning manga by Hajime Isayama. Before I say anything else, I'd like to apologize for my pronunciations. I'm Vikram. I go by as 42 on the forums, and joining me for this review are Stephanie Sama.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I go by GSDG on the forums.
And Eli Sama.
I go by the Sword of Winter in the forums.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
All right.
So Stephanie, I think I remember you from the Bosses of Kingsgrave's Korra episodes. Am I right?
Yep.
Cool. I definitely enjoyed a lot of those. Any idea?
Thanks.
Any idea on when the series is coming back?
Well, they said it would come back in 2013. So my catchphrase now is the longer we wait, the sooner it will be. No, they're doing retakes and color correction, and they started dubbing it in Spanish for Latin America. So I mean,
Oh, wow.
it should be. And they started doing the voice work for I think book 4. So just 2013. January 31st, it's coming.
We had the same problem with the first season. I mean, the first book, we had the same problem. They kept on moving it back.
No,
So,
they actually moved it forward.
Really?
It was it was actually slated to, not to get too off topic, but it was actually slated to premiere in September 2012. And then because of the entire rabid fandom, they decided to move it forward to April. And then they actually debuted the first 2 episodes online for a weekend, 2 weeks actually before that.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too. Just I'd completely forgotten about Avatar, that I saw the ad on the ATLA's Facebook page for The Legend of Korra this weekend. And I'm like, holy shit. And then I've been obsessed ever since again. So
Yeah, it's a healthy obsession.
Mhm.
Legend of Korra is a healthy obsession.
Oh, I love Korra so much. Anyway,
Definitely. So I was thinking the plan, let's keep it spoiler free. Maybe spoil the first episode of the anime, but keep it spoiler free as much as we can. And then once we exhausted it all, let's get into the broad discussion, include all the 46 chapters of the manga as we go. Sounds good to you guys?
yeah.
Yeah, let's at least inform the audience that this is mainly a manga podcast, basically, and because we'll be discussing parts of the manga, stuff that hasn't been revealed yet, or won't be revealed for a long time on the anime. I think we should.
Or maybe it won't at all.
Or it won't at all, exactly.
Because the anime is slated for like 25 episodes, and they've already gone, and then the 12th one aired today. So,
it seems quite popular. So, I mean, I would doubt.
I think there's always the option for OVAs or a second series, but I mean, like as it stands.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, the animes are gonna outpace the manga soon, but we'll save that for later. So let's start with why do people even need to care about this anime or manga? Let's start with the premise. So what's Attack on Titan based on? What's it about?
Okay, it's basically this like show, or it's set in this like universe where there are like huge like human eating giants called titans, and then our heroes live in the last city of humanity, which is this huge walled fortress. And then at the start of the series, one of the walls is broken through because they have three walls, or there are three concentric walls. Rather than the outermost one is broken through, driving our protagonist Eren Yeager to be the hunter.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on the zombie kind of series. It kind of reminds me a lot of the zombie series, but instead of you're just regular zombies, you have these 15-meter tall or even 50-meter tall giant beings called titans, kind of brainless, kind of just wander about, don't have any strategy or anything, and they just eat humans for the sake of eating humans.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's actually mentioned in the manga and the anime. Actually, is that they're not really. Actually, it's in the manga, but it's mentioned that they're not really hungry. They're not doing this out of instinct in a way. They're not doing it to feed themselves, and I think they don't have most of the things that would be particularly noted as generally human anatomy. In other words. They don't have genital parts. They don't seem to defecate or urinate. So at least that's not shown in the manga, and it's actually mentioned as well. So I don't think as it says, they don't eat out of hunger. They just eat humans for the sake of eating them.
Yeah, and then it's also a more darker twist because like there's like like everyone's pretty much a red shirt. And then there's just like a lot of major mistakes. A lot of lives end up being sacrificed, and sometimes it all comes to naught. So
yeah, the opening sequence, it kind of totally threw me off. If you see in the opening sequence, it goes, "Oh, we are the hunter, they are the prey," and you got Eren and all his buddies jumping about like 100 of these soldiers, and they're like zipping here and there and killing these titans. But the show is exactly, it was they were doing so well, and I was like, oh, this show is so cheesy. I mean, what's this? It seems isn't this set in medieval world? Why do they have jetpacks and something? But then when the show gets going, it's so brutal.
I think the opening is the best way to describe like a propaganda piece. You know what I mean? It's how the corps want to be seen. They want to be seen as eliminating the threat, or like the only protection that humans have. But in reality, once you actually get into the show or the manga, you realize it's the opposite. That they're literally being wiped out, and that the troops aren't doing anything for the people.
Exactly. It's like the opening is like the only shining light. You go through the series, you're devastated, and the opening it has very little humor too. There are only a few characters who are like comic relief. It's very serious show, and the opening is a shining beacon saying, "Hey, it's okay. These guys are gonna rally together and be good."
definitely. I mean, what's it called? We realize this right off from the beginning. If it's in the manga or the anime, you see the troops coming back. First, they look heroic, and they're attacking the Titan. And then once they come back, you see one of the leading officers crying to the mother and showing her what's left of her son, and saying that we're actually having no progress. We know nothing about the threat. So I think it shows you how serious the situation is and how false of an illusion the people have about the officers and the corpse.
I don't think it's so much of a propaganda. I mean, like, everyone knows that that everyone in the scouting legion, like, goes out there and then just, like, will almost always die on, like, their first mission. So I don't think it's, like, a commonly held point of view for everyone,
It seemed like that, or maybe it's just Aaron's view of the troops. Maybe Aaron
the theme song is very much like, let's, like, pump it up, like, talking about how awesome the hero is, like with that whole, yay, go. I mean, it's his last name,
So if the anime is so depressing, even the manga is so depressing and gloomy, what got you guys hooked to it? What do you like about it?
Okay, so I'll go. I mean, I actually got into it through Eli, your Tumblr. I saw that gif of a spoilery part, but it was that gif of like, I'm back because I'm fabulous.
Sorry,
it's okay.
That.
I mean, so I was kind of like aware of that, but I mean, like, it took me a little bit to get into it. I thought the first 2 episodes of the anime were full of angst, honestly. Like, my favorite part of those first 2 episodes was when Mikasa punched Eren. Thank God for that. But I mean, I started to like them during the training arc. I'm glad they moved that flashback up. I mean, it lengthens the time for setup, but it's like really, I think it's like really necessary, because then I met Sasha and she's the love of my life. So
for me, it was basically how the first episode just went about, like the series of events that happened, and everything seems to crumble. Like you see you're introduced to this world, you're introduced to the Order, you see a brother and a sister, at least what appears to be a brother and a sister, talking to each other, coming into the wall, and you hear them talking about how how the Order is of the corpse, and they're basically drunk and they're not defending anything, and they just simply talk about not having even enough training and to defend the city in case of Titan attack. And all of this changes like in the first few minutes. You see like a giant Titan basically who towers above even the wall, and you see a hole being kicked in to the wall, and then you see the family being basically cut in half. You see the mother being consumed by the Titan, and this brings up sort of like a Ned moment, in the first episode. Like it shows you how serious the situation is. A main character dies, in other words, at least in the first episode. The mother dies. So
moms have a very high mortality rate in fiction, though. So, I mean, either they're dead in childbirth or they're angst fuel for the protagonist's backstory. I mean, I wasn't that surprised when she died, but that's just me.
For me, it's just I always enjoyed shonen manga, Naruto's and Bleach's and stuff, and those were my favorite. The action sequences and the fights were so rewarding, satisfying, but the plot's always been like so weak. It's a plot just to get these 2 people in the same room together so they knock each other out, and I appreciate the more the more mature mangas like Black Lagoon and stuff, and even Berserk. Obviously I haven't watched all of Berserk or even read the mangas, but from what I watch, the action sequences are not satisfying. It's like they want the plot's kind of the center, and this series here like falls right bang in the middle between a seinen manga and a shonen manga. It's like it's got the satisfying combat of Naruto's and stuff, but it has a very solid plot too.
Yeah, I love how it unfolds, and it's just like there's so many more questions, and I'm like really looking forward to how it'll be settled. And it's like this is probably one of the only ones or besides Full Metal Alchemist, I think, but like for like an actual like shonen, I guess it's still shonen because it's like marketed towards the
It is
demographic. It runs in a
shonen, yeah.
shonen. It runs in a shonen magazine. So anyway, like I love how it's unfolding, and it doesn't really feel like an ass pull. Like none of it feels like an ass pull, like a lot of other popular shonen manga that shall not be named.
Yeah. I agree. For the most part, this series hits a lot of points that kind of distinguish it from other shonens, namely the strong female characters, and I think this gets into the anti-shonen argument. And we see that firstly with Mikasa before we meet the other female characters, the strong female characters.
I will put in a brief counterpoint to the Mikasa one, that her entire character is based around Eren. I mean, like, there's room for improvement there.
Mhm.
As much as I love I'm gonna protect my boyfriend. And
more of I'm gonna protect my brother, but yeah.
I mean, like, you saw that blush in that chapter after, like, that guy's like, after all, you're protecting your love. She's like, he's my brother. Blush.
Are we really going into the whole Sword Art Online kind of adopted brother and sister thing here? I mean,
I've never seen that.
It was so awkward, like the
I
Sword
think
Art.
have you even seen the like ending credits to the anime? That's just like, I mean, I don't really ship it. I mean, the only ship I ship is Jean and Marco, but I mean, like.
Sword Art Online. I mean, I've seen Sword Art Online. It's not one of my favorites though, but it was pretty obvious that those two had a ship together or something.
She had a thing.
One-sided.
It was one-sided. Yes, it's one-sided. You're right.
Are we still talking about Mikasa or
Mikasa?
Everything,
Mikasa and
everything.
Eren, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really one-sided, but I mean, and I personally think Eren's really rude to her, but like, I mean, he's rude to everybody, but like, girl, you can do better. But anyway, like, like Sasha. But I mean, I love the whole like how she's like, I'm gonna protect you. You would be dead without me. But there is her like relationship to Eren is her entire character so far. So, but there are more awesome female characters. I mean, like Sasha's a badass. Hanji's a badass.
Yes.
And there's there's very little there's no fan service at all.
Mhm.
That's like the best thing that kept me going through this series. I'm like, was like honestly, if there had been like some really ridiculous fan service, like I probably would have, or within like the first few episodes, I would have quit the show. And there hasn't been any since, or there hasn't been any at all. So that's great.
But that's the argument. That's the argument for anti-shonen. If you think about it, you have One Piece, for example, where female characters are the center of fan service for the male readers, and you see that with Nami, for example. You know, and you don't find much of that in Attack on Titan. So
there's been, I think, fan service materials that's been released as part of as like marketing for the anime, but not as. I don't think the mangaka has had anything to do with that.
Exactly.
And
they
also,
look like
he's drawn Mikasa buff, and she is awesome. She has a 6-pack and is just like ready to like fuck people up. And it's just like he draws her in like an MMA uniform, and it's like awesome. It's like
yeah. I mean, without the spoilers, I think the author tries to show how Mikasa stands alone. You know, even without Eren being around, we see that she basically shines even without him. Yeah. And I think the author actually goes out of his way to point that out, and I think that helps the argument of an anti-shonen, you know, the series being an anti-shonen.
It's a character thing is brought up a lot. I mean, people feel there is a lot of polarizing opinion about that. Some people call it well-developed, some people call it cliche, and I'm kind of side with well-developed characters. With Naruto and stuff like that, there's no gray and black character per se, but got a lot of more white characters than black characters in Naruto's and stuff. In this, it's like, as the show goes on, we get reveals on, more about the Titans and stuff, and we do meet a lot more gray characters, and you're like, why did you do this or something? But it feels like they had something in mind. They were not all bad or something. So what do you guys feel about the characters? Do you think it's developed or it's cliche stuff?
I'm gonna say both. I think they're well executed cliches. I think one of the best developed characters is actually Jean. Is like he becomes like this like he's on his way to becoming a good leader. I think he's the most effective foiled Eren in the series so far. And like, he's just like this little shit that's just like only cares about his own safety. And
yeah, he's such a Malfoy character.
And then like he like starts like questioning his leadership skills, and he starts developing them. And he tries to do the right. He tries to do the right thing eventually, even though he knows it's gonna suck for him. He like does a complete 180, and I believed it. And for some of the other characters, or some of the other characters' development, I don't really believe that. I think Reiner, I'm not buying any sympathy that the author is trying to pitch me, but
I honestly think that the series or the author basically tries to bring in cliches, and he actually goes to prove how he defeats these cliches. Like, for example, you have Armin, who is quote-unquote the coward, you know what I mean? But then you see that the other characters are putting their faith in him, putting their lives on the line for him, not to protect him, but him to protect them. So I think that fights the cliche, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also he does grow out of his whole, his like plaguing self-doubt. He's growing out of that once like he realizes, hey, my opinions or my strategies are worth having. I can actually save people's lives with this.
Yeah.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Eren, when it starts out, I didn't like them at all. He's your typical hot-headed, arrogant kid who goes, I'm gonna kill all the Titans, I'm gonna kill all the Titans. But then I realized, we find this guy in a very bad situation. He just lost his mother, he just lost his home and everything. And there is this vulnerability to it. It's not like he's talented, he's good at everything. He's not Harry Potter or even Naruto. He's like...
Well, Harry Potter is very mediocre himself.
Yeah, at least Naruto is pretty dumb, so that makes him very likable. This guy is like arrogant and stuff like that, but then he goes, I'm gonna kill everything, and he does it, and we'll see what stuff happens. And you're like, oh, you feel bad for the guy. Hey.
And I think what's better for me is that once like his and Armin's dream is brought up more, then it just like stops. Then his hot-headedness stops bothering me. But like when he's like, you gotta put everything on me, I'm just like, don't. And then Levi comes and kicks him, and I'm just like, yes, thank you.
Can we talk about Sasha? Seriously?
I love Sasha.
Yeah, let's talk about her. The potato girl.
I think Sasha by herself breaks the anti-shonen image. It breaks the idea of this being an anti-shonen. I mean, it breaks the idea of this series being a shonen, you know what I mean? Because she doesn't present the shonen kind of woman, you know what I mean? From the beginning, we see her eating a potato randomly in the training, when all the other characters are just simply nervous. And she seems out of place in a way.
She's just so unflappable. Even though she doesn't have that 1,000-yard stare that everyone else is, she's just like...
Yeah, she's definitely... I'm glad they have her. The comic relief is awesome. So let's see... So before we get into a spoiler-free discussion, a spoiler-filled discussion, would you recommend the series to your friends? Would you recommend the manga? Would you recommend the anime? Would you recommend both?
I'd recommend both. I'd say, like, for the anime, I'd say there's, like, some angst in the first few episodes. But, I mean, like, if you can get through that, it's good. It's good. I really love the animation style they use. It's, like, I love how they have that, it's more like a Western cartoon where you have, like, those black outlines. But I love how there's varying thickness. I don't know, I just love that style for some reason. I think it captures like some of like the intensity of the show, but not in a real cliche way, if that makes sense.
It does, yeah. I would recommend it too.
Yeah, there's beautiful animation. I mean, like they do the Ken Burns style panning over stuff. It really shows where they're putting the animation budget, so that never bothered me, like it might with some other shows. So,
How about you, Eli?
I'd definitely recommend it on the animation alone, as Steph was saying, but I'd also recommend it the anime first, because that's how I got exposed to the series. It was anime first, and I think the drawing style, a lot of people complained in the manga about the drawing style, and it's hard to follow. I mean, it kind of throws you off a bit when you're starting out. So I would recommend the anime first, and if once you get into the anime, then I'd recommend getting into the manga.
Yeah, I agree about the manga's art style. I mean, I think Isayama's art has improved greatly even throughout the 46 chapters. Like, I think his faces have developed into much more distinct shapes, and that like the earlier kind of reminded me of Berserk, is that there were so many lines and like so much like movement going on that I couldn't follow it, because there's those motion lines everywhere, and then that confused with the style of shading, and then
Yeah, I really like the anime, I got used to it a lot sooner than I got used to Naruto and Bleach, I had to be patient with them, at least like 10 episodes to get going. This one, I wasn't like hooked. I wasn't like, this is the best anime ever right from the first episode, but I knew the premise was really interesting. I was really hooked onto it. And after the fifth episode, when the first twist comes into play, it's like, I want to watch more. And this is the first manga I've ever picked up. I was going to say I'm not a comic book guy. They never really got my attention, and I never really got into other mangas too. But when I started watching it, there were only 5 episodes out, and I just went through the 5th one. The cliffhanger came into play, and I was like, I want more, and I tried to look for the 6th episode everywhere I could, and somebody said, "Hey, the manga is really good too. You guys should try out."
Yeah,
and now I'm into picked up other mangas too because of this guy. So
cool.
I definitely recommend.
Yeah, I watched up to episode 8, and then it ran out of episodes, so then I got into the manga. Although I'd say that I really liked it at episode 3, but like episode 8 and the entire like focus on the tactics, that really appeals to me. So that's when it really just that's when I got obsessed. That's when I had to be like, okay, I have to read the manga now.
Yeah, same here too. Basically, once I got into the anime, it does in the beginning, after the first episode, it does slow down and it does get a little boring, but I think it pays off in the later episodes. Basically, I couldn't wait, you know what I mean? Once I got to episode 8, as everybody mentions, I couldn't wait for the next week's, anime release. I had to go to the manga. And I think one of the things that complements this anime series is the fact that it's true to the source, and it actually complements the source in a way, like the chronology is one way, instead of it starting off with Trost, it starts out with the training. I think that's one thing that complements it. And one thing to point out is that the series in itself,
Let's start with the manga. The spoiler-filled discussion. Then we'll have a lot more material. So that's it for our spoiler-free part of the podcast. We will begin discussing all 46 chapters of the manga from now on. So the plots of anime series are very weak, but this one's filled with a lot of twists and turns. So be warned, beware of spoilers. Do you think the guys are gone? The guys who have not read the book, are they gone now? Can we talk about it freely?
Who cares? Let's just talk about spoilers.
Okay, I'm gonna say this now. Reiner and Berthold are titans, and not just any titans, but the colossal titan and the armored titan.
Fuck his attempt to get Reiner sympathy. Fuck that. That is just
No.
like, I don't care that he's like, I don't know, like, how old was he? Like 11 when that happened? That shit, what he did was unforgivable. I mean, I'm rooting for, I mean, like, I was hoping for Annie to get some sort of redemption, but like, why is she not getting any redemption when Reiner is?
I
It's just,
completely
like, so, like, I mean, I don't think Annie should get that much redemption, but I mean, if Reiner's getting redemption, hell.
I completely forgot what happened to Annie. I had to go back and read the manga. Oh, she's trapped in a crystal.
Yeah. I liked Annie too. I liked the lone wolf. I liked that they had the lone wolf as a girl and that she's awesome. And then, like, I mean, I think it was an interesting enough twist. I mean, I'm fine with her being a Titan, but like, but I was kind of rooting for her. The lone wolf, it's just like, fuck you, I'm doing my own thing. Just has this entire chip on her shoulder.
You see, there's a reason why I don't blame Reiner and Berthold. There's a reason why. It's because of Ymir. I think Ymir is the reason why they're fucked up. Period. She ate their parents.
Do you not? No, she ate her. She ate Berthold's friend. And do not insult Ymir. She is my queen.
Ymir turned into a titan and attacked Berthold and Reiner's village at some point. But Annie, Reiner, and Berthold were all from the same village or something, right?
Yeah.
They're all in this together. They knew about each other's skills before. Ymir was like the wild card, and also Eren.
Yeah, also, how much truth do you think is behind that village backstory? I think there is, but like, I think there's some grain of truth there. I'm just not sure how much.
This is the kind of prediction that I've had, is that they're all from the same organization. Like, there are two organizations, I believe. There's the state established organization, and then there's the rebel organization, and that's where Berthold and Braun come from, as well as Annie. And I think there's more.
And there's also the church also.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The church itself in Ymir, basically, there's a connection to Ymir with the church. But I think there are titans among the officers. I think, namely, what's his name? The blonde-headed character. What's his name?
Haynes or something?
Hans?
Irvin.
Irvine.
Commander Irvin.
I think he's a titan.
Ah.
I've been getting that vibe from him from the beginning.
Oh yeah, with his nose. Like, they all kind of have like a Roman nose. Like, all three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have that Roman nose, so I mean.
So I think I wanted to bring out the Reiner point because, for me that's like the biggest twist. But let's start sequentially.
Actually, I think that twist was like such an untwist. I mean, they didn't even bother building up some drama to it. They just had him and Bert go up to Anarin and say, "What's up? I'm the armored titan and he's the colossal titan." Like, they should have at least cut it in between with like the background check on Annie.
I like the awkward reveal. I just loved it. I don't know why.
What was it? She comes in, Miska. She just comes in and swings her sword at these two guys, and then they show us, oh, Armin figured it out. That two are titans too, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think they should have had like Hanji and Armin mulling over the results of Annie's background check. I think they should have had that intercut to let us know something up. That's just such an unreveal. Why do that? But guys, I'm really excited. Mikasa's going to rescue Eren. Hopefully, crossing my fingers.
So let's start sequentially from the plot with the plot lines. I just thought I'd bring up this big.
Oh yeah.
To scare away anybody who hasn't read the manga who's still listening. Okay. So let's talk about the Traust then. The Traust plot. The invasion of Traust. Eren dying. Having a Ned Stark moment, and then he comes back. He not only comes back, he's a Titan now, and then helps plug the hole. So, what do you guys discuss the arc?
It's like having Ned Stark come back as some kind of child of the forest or something and start.
I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed to see Eren come back. I was like,
me too.
Oh my god!
I mean, like, I kind of knew it was happening because of the aforementioned spoiler on my Dash and Tumblr, but like, it's just like, I mean, at that point, I didn't really like Aaron that much. I've warmed up to him, but I mean, he does sometimes grate on me, and he really grated on me during the first 5 episodes. So I'm just like, finally. And then
He's
I think
out of the picture.
yeah, I mean, I think after that, that's when the series really took off. I mean, that's when they had Mikasa's backstory and her badassery, and then like they had all the tactics, like Jean starting his development as a leader, and then Armin's development of his confidence in his tactical skill. So I think that's when it really, once the spotlight stepped away from Aaron, that's when I think it really came into
Began
its
to
own.
shine.
Very
Yeah.
good point. Yeah, very good point. Same thing when Eren, I'm glad for the anime they put the training arc, which is from volume 4 all the way in the 3rd episode of the series, which gave us more time with Eren. We started to like him more. There was all this incident with his malfunctioning belt, so this guy
Yeah.
wasn't able to use the 3-dimensional gear, and there was a chance that he could be kicked out. And then we saw Jean, and we saw Reiner, we saw Berthold, we saw Annie, and everybody there. And so when the Traus incident happens, and then Eren dies, and suddenly we are left with like 2 episodes with like Misaka, Arumi, and all these guys. And if we didn't have the training incident, I wouldn't have cared about these guys.
Yeah.
That kind of was like, hey, these guys are actually better than Eren. And when Eren actually came back, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. And then, like, yeah, it's just like going and reading those chapters in the manga. They're just like all these people. I mean, I already know what's going to happen to them, but I mean,
I think they
Speaking of
should have
which-
had the fight. I thought they should have had the Jean versus Eren fight, the fake fight. You know what I mean? Because when I saw it in the manga, I was like, wait a minute, they didn't fight at all. You know? Because he throws a few punches at Eren, and he falls back, and then he's about to hit him back, and then we have Mikasa basically catching him.
yes, and picking him up.
Yep, and carrying him away.
I mean, I think they did enough of that. I think if they went to the whole like, oh yeah, let's like duke it out on the on the sparring field, I think that would have been beating the dead horse. So I mean, plus, I mean, just like I love that expression, those expressions on Sean, just like what a little shit. I mean, same with Eren, but like, I just love those like.
He's obsessed with Mikasa. Let's just put it that way.
I know, not in my universe. He's just a Marco.
So there was this part, I think it's both in the anime and also in the manga. So the first time he sees Mikasa, he's like, he blushes and everything. Then they walk outside, he rubs his hand on Connie's, or he wipes his hand on Connie's shirt. And when Connie says, hey, what did you wipe on it? And he says, my trust. What was that? I didn't get that at all.
It was like his faith in humanity.
Why? She rejected him or something?
It's not that it's because
He thinks they're a thing. You know what I mean? They're an item. That's what he thinks.
because like he sees Eren touch Mikasa's hair, and he's like, oh, you should touch it or you should cut it, and then Mikasa's like, oh, what length do you want it to be? You know, like just like how would you not think those two are a couple? And then he's just like,
yeah, I didn't get that at all.
I mean, he
But,
completely
yeah.
flubbed his first move anyway, but I mean, and considering Mikasa's backstory, I don't think she was that happy to have that kind of a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's not even a compliment. Or that wasn't even a compliment that Jean gave her, but
I was gonna say, I'm always surprised by how dark some of these stories get, especially Mikasa's origin story. It's kind of dark, and this is supposed to be shonen. This is supposed to be for 10-year-olds to 15-year-olds.
Yeah, it does get really dark. It does. I was surprised. Like I didn't see it in the anime. So I did see it in the anime, but it was later. I started reading the manga, and then when I did get to that part, I was like, wait a minute, are they going to have that in the anime? I was
Mhm.
confused, yeah.
Yeah, he is a girl who a moment ago was asking, "Hey, Dad and Mom, where do babies come from?" And now she's gonna be sold to somebody in the capital.
yeah, some pervert, and then like,
Yeah.
ugh,
And then a minute later, she kills her captives. I mean,
yeah, and
talk about an arc.
like psycho Eren shows up. Like Eren was such a psycho in those chapters. Like holy shit.
He's always a psych. He's always been a psycho.
It's just like, holy shit, Aaron. Never expected that of you. I mean, like,
I think they complement each other. I think
Yeah.
Mikasa is a psycho in her own way too.
I mean, like, see, I think this is actually in these like dark and edgy backstories. I think this is a key difference in what, like, I've seen this compared to like Berserk a lot, and
Mhm.
I think in Berserk a lot of the dark and edgy stuff is really just a set piece. It's like, or it's like all for like to show how dark and gritty Guts is. You know, he's like that '90s anti-hero. So
Mhm.
like, I don't think Attack on Titan does that.
No, it
At
don't.
least,
Like,
at least it doesn't show Eren getting raped by a group of guys.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah.
Like,
Oh my god.
we don't. I mean, like, I'm very glad there are not like. I mean, just like, not to get too off topic, but in Berserk, there's like every like 2 pages there's a rape scene. Like, it just seems that it's just like so tired of a plot device or of a writing tool, first of all, and just
Mhm.
like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
So yeah, instead of having rape scenes in every flashback or every single chapter, basically Kyojin basically has Shingeki no Kyojin basically has death scenes in almost every chapter. It complements the chapter almost.
Yeah, like there's gore, but it doesn't feel like it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the writer found this niche here, something between Naruto's and something between Berserk's. I think this is very good. I look forward that more stuff is made in this region or in this spectrum.
I think the author just loves creating characters and then killing them off. Like,
Yes.
just in Trost, you have all of like the people we just got used to get wiped out. Like
Marco and stuff.
The
Yeah,
couple was a
Marco.
perfect situation, you know, where half of his body's missing and she's trying to bring him back. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Franz
that
and Hannah.
was- Yep.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
And then, I'm surprised they didn't show that in the anime. They didn't actually show the half of
rest
the
of-
body missing. Yeah. I'm just, that's just as a viewer, that the first time around that made me a little confused. Just like, I mean, I got the message that he was like clearly dead, but
Mhm.
like not
You
almost
see
dead.
Armin. You see Armin reacting like,
Oh man, I love Armin. He's my favorite character in the entire show. I mean, I just like want to give him a hug.
I don't know. He's kind of overpowered. I mean, with his thing. I mean, whenever the author needs to reveal anything, oh, by the way, Annie is a Titan or something like
Yeah.
that. They do
No,
it
but I think
through Army, and it's like, how did you?
No, but he
You know-
explains it later, and I think it unfolds very. I think at the same time it does unfold very well.
mhm.
Because, you know, like with like Annie like removing his hood, and then just like having I think it was Reiner who like cut the message into her hand when she had him.
Mm,
I think
I mean, it's-
her fighting stance and everything also.
Yeah, I think there's enough like foreshadowing that's like not like so blatant as like you're fighting to save your love, aren't you? But like there's enough foreshadowing that you can like if you're really astute and not like just like you can probably formulate a good crack theory about it.
Mm.
And be
Try.
like, I knew it. Or not so crack theory.
I liked how we got into Armin's head during the Trost arc. I loved that. Like, he was the POV character in those, basically in that whole arc. So I think it was a good thing to have him as the POV character
Yeah.
instead of Mikasa. Yeah.
Okay. So anything else we can talk about it before we move on to the female Titan arc?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're good with the Trost.
Yeah. So let's talk about the trial of Eren and his induction into the Survey Corp, and also the female Titan who is revealed to be Annie.
Oh my god. Aaron's behavior at his trial was so freaking annoying. Thank God Levi kicked him. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank God.
Yeah, I was like, after the Trout arc was over, or Troust arc was over, I was like, this was pretty cool. This is a series I want to be into. And the female Titan arc just tops it off. I mean, this just takes it to another level, I think.
Yeah. I think, as the important characters introduced in Hanji. I love Hanji. Um, and
And all the corp mates who are supposed to guard Eren,
the Maeve shirts.
right? Here's Gunter who kills 7 Titans and 7 Titans solo and 14 team. Here's Eren who killed 14 solo and 32 with team. Here's Petra who killed, and bam, they're all dead.
Well, Petra was introduced in Trost, but technically, but then there's I don't know, that guy who sniffs people, and then
I thought Levi was a girl when he was first introduced. Yeah, I actually thought it was a girl.
It's actually kind of hard to tell him and Eren apart sometimes, not gonna lie, but
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was
He has
really
a similar
strange.
haircut, I think.
Only the eyes are slightly different. It's just he has a more
Well, Levi wears the
oval
ascot.
eyes. Being the first manga I read, I understand a lot of things now, why they do certain things in anime, why everybody has a weird costume, why everybody has a weird hairstyle. It's because it's all black and white, and that's the only way to distinguish characters.
One of the things that I liked about the trial, right after the trial situation, I liked how people who haven't read the manga, the kind of conclusions they came to, like when Commander Pixie gives some of his drink to Eren, one person actually made the theory that he poisoned him, or he gave him some kind of berserk potion or something, because when he went berserk and he punched at Mikasa in that situation, they came to the conclusion that he just drugged him or something. So
Pixis the chess master.
Yep.
And then,
but I think
that was
he knows.
a great add into the anime, though.
Yes, definitely. I think he knows more than he says he knows. You know what I mean? For Pixie, because he does mention that the government is using experiments. You know what I mean? So I think he is giving something away.
Well, I think in the surface that can just be read as a cheap cover story, but who knows? I mean, if anything, I'm more interested with Keith Shardis and how he knows Eren's dad. It's
okay,
how does that happen?
Yeah. So do you guys think?
More where is Eren's dad now?
So I'm thinking, so when Eren has this dream, right, where he's struggling with his father, and his father gives him an injection and then gives him the keys to the basement. So I think that serum or something that his father gave him, that's what's turning him into Titan. Am I wrong?
I agree. I agree 100%.
That's something, right?
Yeah, I completely agree too. So that begs the question of if Annie, Bert, and Reiner are human human based, how did they become Titans?
Right.
Then that brings up Connie's village too. But,
right. I mean, this entire thing that, later it's revealed that the walls are made of Titans. How did everybody forget that the walls were made of Titans? How did they do it secretly? I mean, it's not just one section of the wall. This wall's 100 miles long. Mm-hmm. There are 3 of them on top of it. How did everybody forget that these walls were made of Titans?
I actually heard that in the actual manga compilations, the volumes that are sold in bookstores, they are apparently runes, or it's upside down Japanese that mentions that gives little tidbits on backstory and or universe, and that the people, or the ancestors of the people in that city are came over and just found the walls as they were. I'm not I don't have I can't really back this up with anything, but that's what I heard.
That makes sense, though. Yeah,
that would be interesting. But one of the theories that I've had is, first of all, that Reiner, Berthold, and Annie have not aged since they've been given the serum, so that's why they look like they're 16 or 17. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They are talking about 5 years ago we did this, or 8 years ago we did this. And they haven't changed. Their appearance haven't changed, even in the flashbacks. They look the same. Okay. So I think it impedes growth. I think you don't age after you get the serum.
I mean,
So
but we've
that
obviously seen Aaron age though, so if
Yeah.
Annie, Bert, and Reiner are
maybe it's
because
after
of the
you
serum.
awaken. Maybe it's after you awaken it, because, I mean, it seems from what we hear about Ymir, for example, that she's much older than we think she is. So
Okay.
Really? Is it because of that side story? Because
yeah.
that was only that only happened a year before the events of the story. That that woman made her journal only a year before the main events of the story. So
But then, were they the same age as Eren? Then that's because they don't
Yeah.
look that way. They look like they haven't aged.
I mean,
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just.
I mean, they're like 14, right? So I mean, like, yeah, Bert really and Reiner look really like mature for their age for like 14-year-old boys, but like at the same time, there's like it's puberty. Shit happens.
One theory that I've had is that they created the Titans simply so they could have control of humanity. So, in other words, they created the threats so they could control humanity. Because this is one theory that I've discussed with some of my friends, was simply that this is, in other words, it's like a village. You know what I mean? This is a world that's completely concealed, not concealed, but cut off from the rest of the world. So the rest of the world doesn't have this Titan issue, but they made these group of people to believe that this was a worldwide threat. And one of the reasons why they created this religion around the walls is to make the people believe that stay in these walls keep you safe, these walls are a gift from God, so don't go out. So I think it's like that village scenario. I don't know if you guys saw that movie.
No, definitely Night
Village.
Shyamalan, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like the village scenario. And when I actually mentioned this theory to my friend, he was pretty much pissed.
See, I'm not so sure about that, but I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it'd be the kind of if there was an outside world, it would just kind of just like make the story jump the shark. Like if there was humanity outside of the walled city. Also, one more thing I'm just kind of curious about is how much like area the walls encircle, because they say that they can get to the outskirts of Wall Maria from Wall Rose in like a night on horseback, but at the same time it's just like apparently they support so many people, so
it's actually not many people. When we get the number when they say 200,000 people were sent out when Wall Maria fell, and they say that's 20%. So there are like only 1 million people, or 800,000 people here. So it's like it's a small city kind of. It's like a couple of suburbs from LA or something. But yeah, I also want to talk about this. When Eren was on the wall with Commander Pixie says, "Hey, back in the day, humanity fought each other, and somebody came up with a theory that if humanity had one single enemy, we would all unite together or something." But they immediately dismiss it off, like saying, "Hey, that's a fairy tale. Humanity will always find a reason to fight each other." What do you think of that? Could that have something to do with it?
It could certainly, but I mean, like, what according to that like source, or that like I mentioned, that like it says that like that humanity had mostly like finished each other off through wars before the Titans came. So like the Titans were just the icing on the cake. But I mean, like, I just can't prove that. So
I think it's a viable theory, and I think it's very viable because one of the theories that I've just mentioned, I think that they created Titans. Now it all comes down to that Bigfoot-looking Titan, because that seems like something that humans didn't create. You know what I mean?
Natural evolution,
the way he looks at the 3D weapons, he's confused. He's like, you guys created this to attack us, to take us out. So he seems like he's So he seems like he's a bit new to this. So that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking if humanity created the Titans, maybe they created it from something that already existed but wasn't much of a threat.
Yeah,
So in other words, he would be like the genesis of it, for example. I don't know.
Or,
Yeah,
I don't know. I
this
had this crack theory that he was Ymir's dad, but like, um, I don't know. It's just like
He can't be
because Ymir
exactly.
mentions
I thought
that
too.
she had a situation similar to Krista. So
No, Annie's dad. I thought it was Annie's dad. My
Okay.
bad. Because Annie's dad is the one who tells her what she has to do. Like we see this flashback, and he's telling
Yeah.
her that they have to destroy the wall, that they
Mhm.
have to do this, and then I thought it was him. I thought he was that Bigfoot-looking Titan, but then he's all confused about the 3D, gear. So
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons why I was confused.
yeah, it's like I think it'd make more sense. I mean, it's my own pet theory, but I mean, I think it's if it's Ymir's dad because she just ran away. Apparently,
Hmm.
like she just like up and left. So, and then like Ymir is definitely important within the Titans according to that logbook.
Do we
And
see Ymir's dad in the flashback?
no, but that Titan that talks to that woman who's writing the diary, he bows to her and he's like Ymir's people, Ymir Sama. So like she's important to them. So like if he's like the boss of the Titans and he's
Notice she's a deviant class. Annie's not a
yeah.
deviant class. Aaron's not a deviant class. Bert Holt is a
well,
colossal, and then we have Raynor, who's like an armored Titan. So it seems like she's the original progression. You know what I mean? She's the basic, and
Well,
then
I mean,
all
I
these
think
other
if
guys.
no,
in
I think
terms
they
of
called
design,
it deviant because when they first saw Annie and she wasn't responding to the normal baits, they called her abnormal. But of course, they realized that it's a human transform. So I think they're all the same category. I think even Yama.
yeah. Though I think in terms of similarities, Ymir and Aaron I think are the most similar in terms of their Titan forms. They like a lot of them. How I love how the author goes for the uncanny valley with the Titans, but he doesn't with with Aaron or Ymir. They just look like dark elves or like kind of like yeah, they're just like evil elves kind of.
Yeah, I wonder what
So they look
Aaron.
less.
I wonder
Yeah,
what
he does look
Aaron's.
different. He does look different from the rest.
Yeah,
Aaron does.
he and Ymir look more bestial, so they look. So I guess like by virtue of that, not or less creepy, and therefore more good in most
I
ways.
I wonder what Aaron's Titan's special abilities are. I mean, Bertholt's is Colossus and Reiner's is the armored, and Annie's is, or she can armor up a part of her body as she likes. I wonder
I
what
think they can.
Aaron's Titan's special ability is.
Maybe
I
they
think
just have the standard set of powers, and then
exactly.
he just has to learn it. Um,
I think they can
or
all
he
do it.
has none because he's the hero and things have to be tough for him.
Yeah, he's getting used to his powers. So I think Annie and Aaron are the same class. I really think so because when we were first introduced to her Titan form, it's almost there's really no difference between them. You know, if you look at them,
Annie?
except for the weird ears. Yeah.
Really,
Annie's
I thought
form and
Annie
Aaron's
was.
form when they're fighting. Did you notice when they're fighting the body
Oh, they have
form?
the same style of fighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's because it kind
No,
of
no,
came
not
together, right?
Oh, no, not the fighting, how they look when they're in their Titan forms. They're about the same height, even.
Oh yeah, she's like 14 meters, but
Actually, they can summon up the Titan depending on their wishes, right? Like when Eren wanted to stop the cannonball, he just summoned a partial Titan, just enough to block the cannonball.
Berthold
So,
did that too. Berthold did
right,
that too. When he was on the wall, when he turned into the Colossal Titan, we only
it's
saw his
half a
upper
Titan.
part. Yeah.
So they
So
all they need to do is, hey, I want a so and so Titan, and then boom, it's born. Some people are good at one versus the other, but I guess that's it, right?
yeah.
That's a good question. We'll learn about it. I think where they're taking Eren, where the story is progressing to, I think we'll find out once we get there.
So basically, they're going to the sex dungeon, right? I mean, basically.
Possibly.
Dr. Jaeger's sex dungeon. My God. Carla, you must have been a saint.
No wonder Eren and Mikasa were always away. Something was going on. Oh, children, go fetch the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mom will fetch Dad's man, Woody.
Yeah, this the final arc that's unfolding right now, where Bert and Berthold are revealed. We also see without a breach, there is suddenly a wave of Titans that are invading, and we get a kind of clue saying, "Hey, these Titans could be coming from these humans." Because where could all these Titans come from without a breach in the wall? They all were naturally created or
Yeah.
formed from the village, right?
I
Well,
think,
the Sasquatch Titan can climb the wall, so
Yeah, it doesn't have to break
Yeah.
them.
yeah, he could throw him over.
yeah. They're durable. They can stand it.
There's this gif of Aaron's Titan kicking one of those small Titans, like a soccer ball or something.
Or like punching it like a football.
Yep.
It's like goalposts.
Oh, it just tossed all the Titans over the wall.
Probably that's
I mean, he
it.
has those really long arms. He might as well use them.
One theory that I had was that the antibody that Aaron's father gave to the people are actually turning people into Titans.
Oh.
The cure.
But wouldn't have Hans's wife have turned into a Titan? Or we actually haven't met her.
You haven't
So,
met her. That's the thing.
It's true. We could.
Maybe she disappeared and she turned into a Titan.
I think
Because
Hans would have
maybe
mentioned it.
Maybe I don't know. That's one theory that's a crack theory that I have.
It's not like, oh, he saved my wife and then she left me.
I don't think he would mention that. You know what I mean? It's just a sensitive thing to mention. That his wife left him.
No, but I think if there was if there was more to that story, it would have been.
And he drinks a lot. Notice that he drinks a lot. So there's something going on. Like there's some kind of trauma that he's feeling.
Yeah.
Really, it could just be boredom.
Yeah, Pixie's
or
another.
just the regular trauma everyone in that world has of just like staring down Titans that want to eat you.
Where is his wife exactly? When he's in the city, and then when he gets back to the station, we don't see him interacting with his wife or speaking about where his wife is. So I think she's not in the picture anymore. I don't know.
I don't know. She'll just be like lying on top of their house in Titan form. Just be like, "Welcome home." It's kind of just like Connie's mom.
I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of the pretty terrifying situations was when we saw Aaron in the stomach of that Titan. That was pretty dark.
Yeah, then they were just gonna. Then the grossest part for me actually was when they're doing the cleanup after the battle, and they see the people who've been vomited.
Oh yeah.
And then I cried tears from my ship because, as I mentioned many times, I love Jean and Marco. So, I mean, I also love Ymir and Krista. They're my favorite. I'm just like, ugh, they had to make the lesbian a monster. But it's okay. I still love them. Ymir's my queen.
And nobody talked about Connie. How come nobody's talked about Connie?
I love Connie. I like most of the supporting characters. I think there could be more development from them. Though I think Mikasa is in the most urgent need of development.
Connie's always the awkward one out. Have you noticed that?
He and Sasha make a good comedy duo though. Just like, like they take Reiner's advice about ramming them up the asshole. Just dead serious. And Sasha's like, I never thought of that. That's amazing.
Oh man.
And then I like that. They're just like if we're to bring back the more female characters thing, like in the operation to retake the supply depot, like Sasha and Connie fail, and then Annie and Mikasa rescue them. So
exactly, that's one of the things that supports the anti-shonen argument, because instead of a guy saving the damsel in distress or damsels in distress, you have another girl. Mm-hmm. Another strong female character actually coming in.
I mean, if we're going to get technical here, I'd say that Mikasa getting saved by Eren after, she's, in the alleyway being like,
well, technically it's not him that's doing it, you know what I mean?
The
wiggle room we have.
The damsel, as in, she is in trouble, but she's not the architect of her own salvation,
Right, Eren was going berserk, he would have killed the Titan anyway. It just happened to be there.
No, I know, but it's just like that I'm talking
And she was
about more of a
emotionally compromised too. It wasn't really her being weak. You know what I mean?
no. I'm talking about more of like a Watsonian or not Watsonian, a Doyleist perspective. You know, there's like Mikasa was put in trouble by the narrative. She is not the architect of her own escape. I mean, I think it's fine. I think there are plenty of circumstances to outweigh that time when she saves her own ass, she saves everyone else's ass. She saves Aaron's ass.
She saves everybody. Let's be honest.
No, I think there are many circumstances to outweigh that. But I mean, like, if we're going by like, and I'd also not count Sasha getting saved by Mikasa as damseling because there's another woman saving her. But I mean, like, I think I am boring you all with technicalities. So,
how about Rico?
Rico?
Yeah, the intelligence officer that works for Pixie, right when they're running towards the destination on the wall.
Oh, that girl with the glasses?
Yep, the girl with the glasses.
I think she's pretty cool. I mean, like, she's just like a Maeve shirt, right? So.
Well, a few minutes earlier, she was urging her commander to use the cannon and kill the three, so...
Yeah, I mean...
No, I'm not going to talk about her.
That commander was like some insane troll logic. But, I mean, like... Well, you can't prove it, and you can't prove you're not, so we'll kill you. But, I mean, I think... I mean, like, if we're talking about, like, good female characters, we're talking about, like, entire, like, spectrum of, like, rainbows, you know, as long as it's not, like, as long as they're not, like, reduced to their gender, as in, like, not, as in nothing's, like, attributed to them, like, being, like, female. So...
I'll have to argue with that because we see Sasha back in the village, and she didn't even have her training or her gear.
Exactly, and she goes toe-to-toe with a Titan and survives with a freaking arrow.
Yep.
Just an arrow. It's just
That's
like...
badass. That is badass.
Sasha, see, that is an example of her being the architect of her own salvation. You know, like, that is just like... Oh, I love you, Sasha.
Yeah, I think this anime did a good job, or the manga is doing a good job of being very gender neutral. I mean, the villain in the second arc was female Titan Annie, and then in the third arc, it was Ymir who saved everybody, even Reiner and Berthold from Castle Utgard by turning into a Titan and gets them all on her back and then jumps.
Notice how scared of her they are, though. Notice how scared they are of her. Even though they're colossal titans and armor titans, when they find out, they're like, oh my god, that's her. She was the one who ate friends.
Well, I mean, like, what are you going to do when you find out you're, like... I mean, everyone was scared shitless of Eren.
I think Reiner was suppressing his memory of being a Titan, right? So it was Berthold who knew what's going on, but Reiner was like, oh, I'm a soldier, I'm not a warrior or something.
Yeah.
And, like, I think remember that scenario where the Titan gets killed and they're doing detective work trying to find out who did it, and then later on somebody suggests it's Annie. I actually think it's Irvin.
Really?
Yes.
Didn't Annie basically admit to it though? Because, like,
well,
not really. She did.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, so
excuse my shocking lack, you know.
No, I think it was Marco's gear, right? And Annie was able to steal it from him or something, and use that gear instead of her own, or something like that.
Yeah, she I guess she lost hers. I guess presumably from transforming, because I mean, like, apparently you're still like fully clothed. There's no like, you know, like you go into your mecha completely naked, but like like in some other shows. But there's like yeah, like you come out fully clothed, but like I guess you end up losing your 3D gear.
They take a lot of heat damage, and that can influence their clothes.
It's like a Susanoo. That's the best example I can give.
So
like she's a Susanoo.
Yeah, so like I guess during the Battle of Trust, when I guess she transformed and then stole Marco's gear, killed him.
Well, she wasn't in Battle of Trust, right?
Yeah, she was.
She was.
I mean, the problem.
They were all there.
Yeah, the problem with her being like transforming during then.
I mean, even
like,
Reiner doesn't show up in Battle of Trust.
No, he's there.
He doesn't turn into an armor Titan and bash through the gate, right?
Oh, No, it's just Bertold, but who
But
actually like we don't. Yeah, the only thing is we don't see either Annie or Bertold actually like their Titan form.
exactly, I think they were together. Berthold was suppressing his memory. Annie wasn't part of the mission.
They actually
Reiner.
keep asking, though. They keep asking, where's the armored Titan? Where's the armored
Yeah.
Titan? He's going to come at any time, but we don't see him.
Yeah, and then they're like, not now, not now. They're to each other. And then, but like, they're all sticking together. But I mean, like, there are times when the camera doesn't focus on them and when they could have snuck off to go transform. So,
Plus, Eren showing up as a Titan, I think that threw everybody off. They was like, this changes the plan. Suddenly there's a Titan. They also have a Titan. Are we on the right side on stuff like that? I think the training, when they went through the training, I think that made them really attached to these people, No longer were they the enemy that they were going to destroy. Now they were like part of them. And they've really sympathized with them, I think.
I think it was only Reiner, though, because, I mean, Annie's still like, nah, I'm going to the military police, fuck all y'all. And then Bertolt was like, if you go back and like reread the manga, he's actually like, in pretty much like every panel, he's just like giving Reiner a glare. He's just like, ugh. So like...
Like
so it's like, ugh, why are you doing this?
Like when Annie was attacking the scouting corps or the survey corps when they were out there, she was picking up the hoods and checking to see if it was her training people, her friends or something.
Yeah, she did spare Armin, which I'm very grateful for, but I mean...
She would have spared Krista too if they came across. They would have just eaten her horse or something and left her.
Yeah. And then...
Yeah. So shall we get into our games? I think this manga and this series is so deep. I think we can just keep talking about it for days. So shall we go into the after show and do our stuff?
Sure.
Okay.
Excellent. So there's our standard game, Marry One Night of Scorpions, but unfortunately most of the characters are underage. So, but there are.
If only I was a year younger. I'm 18, so.
But Stephanie pointed out that there are a lot of adult characters around, so we can use them instead. Let's start. Keith Shardis, that's the guy, that's the training commander, right?
Yes. Scorpions.
So marry One Night of Scorpions. And the Scorpions are for you, by the way. You would rather be thrown into a scorpion pit.
Yes. All right, Keith, Scorpions.
How about you, Eli?
Scorpion.
I don't know. He was, if he truly wanted to be careless, he would have
kicked Eren
out.
I take that back. Ymir, Scorpion.
Ymir, she's underage. She's underage.
She is?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know. She's
in my nightmares. Everyone in the training corps is 14.
Okay.
Yeah. Just better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's call Chris Hansen now.
And Hanji, the scientist from Survey Corp.
Oh,
I would marry.
Marry.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yep.
She's awesome.
We just do science together and just be like together and just do science. Yeah.
Weird science.
No, it's awesome science.
No, a lot of weird science. Her obsession with Titans is unhealthy. Seriously.
No, do you know her backstory?
He like bites
though?
her,
She's
doesn't he? He like bites her or something, right?
No, like she
has a wound.
He comes close. He comes close to like biting her head off, or like Sunny and Bean, and then like, no, but like.
Doesn't she have a wound?
I don't think so.
No. Her lieutenant or somebody always kept pulling her back and kept saying, "Leader, watch yourself."
Yeah, and then.
Oh yeah, definitely marry with Hanji. She's definitely smart. Okay.
How about Hans?
Scorpions.
So Hans, so I really like that. Eren's mother was trapped in the house and was like, "I'll save you guys. I owe your family." And then he runs to the Titan and was like, "Oh shit, I can't do this."
Well, that was also because
and turns around and grabs them and runs away.
He ran so fast.
Well, I mean, I think that's like standard response for everyone.
Well, that was really cool.
And also, Carla begged him too.
He played hero for a moment. For a moment, he went out of reality and said, "I'm gonna save everybody." And then, just in a matter of just seconds, he just changed his mind and ran away with the kids.
And it was so cool that when he was struggling with Eren, and was like, Eren, you couldn't save your mother because you are not strong. I couldn't save her because I did not have the courage. I mean, he has like the best lines whenever he shows up.
Yeah. No, I really love that part where like Eren, they've all finished their training, and Eren's like, it's not your fault. And I'm like, oh, Eren, that's when I really started to like him a lot more. And then he just had to go, I'll kill him all myself. I'm just like, ugh, Eren, you haven't changed a bit.
How about the pastor guy?
Scorpions.
Everybody's scorpions for you.
Oh, he was the annoying guy, right? Who was like, I can't tell you the secret unless I have Krista's permission, who we exiled like 5 years ago.
Yeah. And does Krista even know? Is she even going to survive long enough to tell people? Like, I swear, like, once they, like, start that shoot, I was convinced that she was going to die.
So lame. It was so lame. Here we are, just a few minutes away from revealing why the Titans and the wall thing, and they go like, oh, I can't tell you because...
Yeah, I think if anything's going to be an ass pull, it's going to be like either the Armored Titan, it's going to be like the Burton Reiner reveal, or that. It's just like, what? But, like, I don't think... I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt for this for now.
So let's see...
Pixies?
Scorpion.
I think he's really cool. I like
one night. I'd say one night.
So I mean, when he took charge of the wall, and he was gonna take Troust again, he picked one of the people to be in charge of the people to guard Eren, right? And he picked him based on his taste for alcohol.
Yeah, just like
you know the difference between a good alcohol and cow piss or something. So you are in charge.
I mean, like, I get it's his... Yeah.
There's more to it, but he just chose to use that as basically. You could see the shock in the other officers when you said that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's really, like you said, it's really just him saying, I'm doing what I want. I mean, like, I'm the freaking Supreme Commander of the Southern Territories. Why do you care? And then, like...
But I was going to say, but it had to be somebody as crazy as Pixie to go for the plan to use Eren. If it was somebody Boy Scout, it would have been like, no, the rule book says I can't ally with Titans.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually, they'd actually kill him if it was somebody else.
If it was that by the book commander. How about Levi?
Oh, yeah.
I'd say one night as well.
I'm leaning towards one night, but I'm also like, I can't. I don't like short men, so I can't. Scorpions.
I didn't want to like this character at first. He came up like a cheesy, arrogant guy, not showing emotion. But he is really attached to his squad when he started losing his people. It was kind of implied that he was sad. He comforted one of the guys who was dying, so... he's a good guy. I think he's a good guy.
At the same time, just like, isn't that like the weirdest quirk? Like him being like a clean freak. That was just like, that's just kind of out of left field. I mean, like, I get it. It's like so he can like clasp that guy's bloody hand and not care, and to show like how much he like loves his subordinates. But like a little odd to be like the establishing character trait, Besides like uber badassery.
How about what's her name? Carla.
The mom, right?
Mom.
I'd one night her.
So before the house fell or after the house fell?
Before the house.
Before, of course.
Yeah, definitely marry. She seemed like a cool chick. Too bad the house fell on her.
Yeah. You know what I think is awesome? I love seeing in like shows like how like they draw like kids who are like really similar to their parents. I like usually like for like a male protagonist they go for the dad, have like say Eren look like his dad, but I just like how Eren looks a lot like his mom. I think that's really sweet.
True.
And I love how you can just like see it too. It's just like so obvious.
No, it would have been.
Was it obvious they weren't the same mother and father?
No. It's pretty obvious that like he looks really like his mom.
No, I mean, is it obvious that Mikasa and Eren are not related? Is it obvious?
I don't really think so.
I
I
think
No?
her features were slightly different. She did, yeah, I was not surprised when they said she's Asian, by the way, or something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised, but I was like, at the same time, I was still trying to like puzzle out that territory. Like, is she a sister? Is she a sister figure? Is she his girlfriend? Is she all three?
Plus the names also, everybody had like a
Yeah,
European sounding name, while
yeah,
Mikasa does sound very Japanese or Chinese
hmm
at least.
definitely.
We didn't talk about the social makeup though, did we?
In what terms?
Like the
The rich,
minorities, the way they spoke about the minorities, for example, and how basically the major makeup for white Caucasian, the major makeup of um, the kingdom or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
it's like I guess like they're going for like the pretty much everyone's white.
Hmm.
I guess it's just like, did they want
oh, very good. I mean,
fantastical thing for a Japanese market, or
No, I think there's definitely that element of
oh
I think the reason why the giant in the short story said Yamir's people is because of her color of her skin, right? I think Yamir looks like a African American or, somebody
she does
like
have
that.
darker skin. She does have darker
Right?
skin.
She's
yeah.
either like Middle Eastern or Southeast Asian or
Although in the manga, I think she's has the same complexion as most people.
yeah, it's black and
It,
white.
it, it, it's hard. It's
I mean,
hard to tell. It's
you can
hard to tell in the
definitely. I
manga.
mean, like in manga, you can still show skin tone. It's really easy. I mean,
True.
just look at Yoruichi from Bleach. I mean,
Yeah, but
Hmm.
it's possible he was trying to get the whole Middle Eastern bit. Like there's
but also
different
like Ymir,
complexions.
that's like the root of the name is from Norse mythology, though. So
Mm,
I have no idea what he's going for by that. I mean, I think
I
he
don't
definitely really did want to bring race up,
know. Hmm.
especially when he's like given Mikasa's backstory and given the whole like Pixis's quote fairy tale about people just fighting over
Fetishizing.
race.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fetishizing. Yeah.
him fetishizing the race, and then also this is a fairy tale of people fighting over race and ideology. Um, it's just not talked about that much.
Hmm.
Notice the parallels also to all the medieval books that they have. It's all European medieval kind of. You have the armor. You have,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. This
Yeah.
actually feeds into what made me believe that this was a sheltered or closed off society, and that the whole threat of the Titans was to basically take control of these people and make
Mhm.
them believe the whole world was overrun, because we keep going back to the Armin kind of talk about him wanting to see the oceans because there's no
Yeah.
body of water close by.
Mhm.
Yeah, but having these people of very mixed races, I mean, mostly it's all white people, but with Mikasa and people like Yammer, it does say people from all over the world congregated to this place. And
But where are the black people?
well,
Yeah.
Yammer is kind of something like that, right?
Yumi represents all the
Plus,
other
it's
the
Oh my
others.
god.
plus it's 100
The
years
brown
now,
lesbian is a
so
monster. I mean, let's just. Oh my god. Can we not with that though?
plus it's been 100 years, right? So because of, mixed marriages and stuff like that, it's probably gone now.
Mm. Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean,
Who knows?
I think if in terms of like manga canon, I'm not so sure Ymir's trying to do that because like given her name, because it's like a prime off Wikipedia, it's her name is her namesake is a primeval being born of primordial elemental poison and the ancestor of all Jotnar. So like, and then she's just as light complected as everyone else in the manga, and I think you can. I mean, and I don't think her features are that differentiated like Mikasa's are. I mean, obviously Mikasa's light complected too, and she's obviously not white, not completely white, but like
Mixed.
yeah, it could have been. I think it's most likely just something the animators did just to give a little more variety.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they did just do some other stuff. Like they gave some of the more female characters like lipstick in a lot of scenes, and just like, why?
And then
Why do they
Mikasa doesn't have any.
No, Mikasa has lipstick.
She does.
Yep.
Oh wow.
watch the scene where she's evacuating everyone. Like she has it like everywhere, but like she has it, Ymir has it, Krista has it. I don't think Annie has lipstick, but like a lot of the girls do have lipstick. I mean, like in the long term of things, I'd greatly prefer lipstick to like a thong of shielding. But I mean, just like why did they have to do that?
I know. Good point. There's this interesting something I've noticed in the anime during the trial scenario. They have this Titan that looks awkward. It looks weird. Have you seen that one where she's eating somebody? And I've seen a lot of memes about that. Have you seen it? It says seductively eating your friend.
Oh yeah, that Bishy Titan.
Yeah, that was. I cracked up so
with,
hard
like,
when I saw that in the anime.
Blush. Yeah. And then there's also the Nick Cage Titan.
Yes,
and the Freddie Mercury Titan.
I like the Frog Titan. Did you see the Frog Titan?
Which one was that?
The one that first when we see Eren, he kicks this Titan, this really small Titan.
Not sure.
He kicks him as soon as he transforms into a Titan. Like when he gets out of the belly in the anime, we see him running to this Titan on the ground that jumps, and he kicks him.
I might have to rewatch that. I'm not sure. Okay. I just remember the ones that was like Nick Cage, because I love Nick Cage. But
okay, let's see. How about Commander Irvin?
One-nighter with the potential for Saltman.
Scorpion for me, yeah.
Yeah, he seems like cool in situations, comes up with these awesome plans. I thought the formation to early detect Titans and then change the course, I thought it was a very smart plan, although I didn't get the smoke signals thing, who knows where the first smoke signal came from or something. But yeah, he comes up with very smart plans, and isn't he the one who came up with luring the female Titan into the forest for them to capture and stuff?
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
And then, like, his strategy is the one that, like, completely, like, reduces casualties to only, like, 30%. And then it's just, like, it just makes me wonder how, it's, like, either how dangerous or how stupid or both was the previous commander conditions.
I would, for Rico, I would say Salt Wife. Rico?
Mm-hmm.
Rico Brzezinski? Brzezinska? Oh, yeah.
I'd one-nighter.
Really?
Yeah.
Thought you liked smart character.
No, she's not Hanji. I'm talking about like science. How about Petra?
Yeah, I put her in because I couldn't think of any more female characters, and she was the one who was encouraging Eren and stuff like that. And she has 10 solo kills, 42 team kills. How can you resist that?
I know.
Petra, I'd say Salt Wife.
Yeah,
Mary for me, yeah, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Garisha, how about Eager's Dead?
Oh, the
Dead.
sex dungeon and all?
Scorpions. I don't want him to come near me. He might inject me with some like serum in my sleeve. Just interpret that however you want.
Oh man, what's it called? What do you guys think is in the dungeon? Because we didn't talk about that.
Exactly. I mean, it's such a Ned Stark moment, right? Oh, I'll come back and tell you what I keep in the dungeon. Oh, I'll come back and tell you who your mother is.
Honestly, they've done so many like if we make it through this, like when I first watched the campaign to like retake the supply core, when Mikasa says once we're through this, I'll tell you about how you saved mine and Eren's lives. I'm just like, oh, she's so dead. But she lived. Yeah, I mean, like in the manga, like Eren's tempting fate too. It's just like, or when he and Armin, like right at the beginning, when he and Armin are like, "Oh yeah, they might break through the wall today." You little shits! I bet you anything, if they hadn't said that, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, and also he conveniently left the town to go see a patient the day the Titans attacked. But then they also show us a scene where he's, driving back in a hurry back to the village. And was like worried about his kids and wife and even Mikasa. So kind of says he probably wasn't in on the plan or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think the government has anything to do with this. Like the organization, the church, I don't think they have anything to do. with what happened, the whole colossal attack. I think that has a lot to do with the two factions. So in other words, the church and the king are on one side, and I don't think they had anything to do with breaking or destroying the walls. I think the rebel group, where Annie and Berthold and all of them come into it, I think they have something to do with it. And I think Aaron's dad has a lot to do with the church and the king.
How do you say that that Aaron had connections with the king and stuff? He looked like a regular doctor.
I think because if he was much of a threat, I think somehow we would come across that he was shunned or whatnot, because people in the church weren't speaking bad things about him. So that gave me the notion that he was possibly involved with them. And then we actually see scientists, in the faction of the king and the church. We see these scientists. So I think he was somewhat involved in the research.
I mean, if the serum is what turned Eren into a Titan, it's probably the serum also what's turned Berthold, Reiner, and Annie into a Titan too. So they probably had access to it, and it's probably Eren's dad who could have supplied it. It could have been just undercover or something, a double agent or something like that.
I think that maybe their dad, like Annie's dad, the one who's spearheading the whole Berthold and whole, destroying the wall thing. I think that he's the spearhead, and he's somehow involved with getting the serum to the rebel faction. And I think that he's sort of a rogue. I think Aaron's dad is sort of a rogue. I think he cut off his connection with the church and the king.
I mean, I think he's just, I think this is unfolding like the way like Amon is in Legend of Korra. Like before like that reveal came, it was like there were just so many wild mass guesses about everything. Just like its entire like.
No, come on! I wouldn't compare it to the Amon.
No, it's just like there's so many crack theories out there. Anything.
I thought
could be
it was
true.
Jet. I thought that Amon was.
Okay,
Jet.
spoilers. Spoilers.
There was. How is that a spoiler though, Jet? Why a lot of people would think
like
that it's
I mean, like we're talking about Korra.
Yeah, it's. Do you guys have a sense that this the story is coming to an end now? Because, yeah, do you think we will see the story end in like 6 more months or at least in a year?
I think it could go for a little longer. I don't think this is the sort of story that would go on for like 10 years unless it was meticulously planned that way from the start. I don't think Isayama's going to pull a Taitakubo and just like make up all these new characters once he gets bored with all the ones he has now, and then just write this whole like new powers as the plot demands.
I don't think it's going to turn into a whole Sword Art Online kind of scenario where the whole series just finishes up real quick. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think we'll have Save Annie arc where this is what I think. I think once Eren finds out about the reality of things, I think he's gonna join Berthold and all of them to save Annie and fight against the king. That's what I think. So if we have an Save Annie arc, and then we have the Truth arc, and then we have the War arc, and all of this, I think the series will be on for at least 2 more years.
There are a couple of things why I think this is similar to Sword Art Online. Once the story is done, it's going to be done, and we are kind of close, is because they don't have like infinite walls to go against. There are only like 2 more walls, and they also talk about if Wall Rose falls, all the population will be pushed to the interior, and in the interior, the food shortage is going to be critical. And instead of the Titans killing them off, it's going to be them killing each other off.
Put into consideration though that the fact that this manga is released every month.
Right, but this manga has been out since 2008 or something. 2011, sorry, and the anime just came up, and so I think an anime wouldn't have come up unless they knew where the story was headed or something, because they're gonna. I think this season's 24 episodes. We are already at the Battle of Troust, and a couple of more episodes. They're gonna resolve Troust, and it's gonna be the female Titan arc then. So I think this season will end with female Titan arc. So next season when they come back, it's gonna be the Breach, Ape Titan, and Berthold and stuff, and they probably Yeah.
I predict minimum 2 years, maximum about 4 years. That's my prediction, but I might be wrong.
hmm Okay. So, any more characters we would like to do the marry one night scorpion thing with?
The boogeyman Titan.
Boogeyman
Oh,
Titan?
like
Not
Sasquatch?
boogeyman. I mean a Sasquatch Titan. There we go.
Oh, Ape Titan, huh?
Hell no, scorpions.
Scorpion.
Yeah,
Oh,
scorpions.
you too.
Yeah, I think you can treat with him, right? You can you can engage with him, you can negotiate with him or something.
You can talk, exactly. This Titan talks.
Yeah.
And he has a sense of humor. Remember what he did to that human being? That was
Mm,
kind of funny.
yeah.
Now you can eat him. He busted that Titan's head when he tried to eat him before he gave him permission.
Yeah.
That was- And I like how he got on top of the wall and he started beating his chest like King Kong.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
Interesting. Okay, so one last game to play. So which corp would you join? The Survey Corp, Garrison Corp, or the Military Police Corp? And also, as Stephanie pointed out, there are subcategories like Engineering Corp, Cannoneer Corp, and things like that. So if you are top 10 of your class, which corp would you join?
Okay, I'd go to the engineering corps, the garrison, because I would be scared shitless to go out into the wild. And I can just, like, do my little, like, sciencey things out there, and then, like, I can, like, occasionally help my wife, Hanji, with her projects, but, like, I'd prefer to stay, like, in the city.
I agree. I'd join the stationary guard.
Mhm.
That's what I would join. I'd be in Pixie's crew basically,
Mhm.
just drinking with Mace Tyrell lookalike, Lord Walto, I think his name is.
Yeah. Does anybody think how it's like weird how they have like people walking around in like medieval clothes and then like everyone in the army is wearing like
Like futuristic clothes. Yeah.
then Annie's just wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, it kind of puts some sense into the theory that, maybe it's actually the modern world, and since they were all like driven into the small cities, they lost the technology. They kept some of the technology, like the ability to forge those swords, and also the jetpacks, but everything else kind of fell by
It's
the
like that
wayside.
scenario in 30 Days Later. Have you guys watched 30 Days Later?
No.
Remember that there was like this place where they went all medieval and stuff?
No, I've never seen that movie.
You mean
Okay.
28 days later? The zombie one?
Was it 20 Days Later?
Yeah, 28 days later, and then
There
28
we go.
weeks later.
Yeah,
And
the
then,
one that had Alexander Siddig in it.
Right.
Speaking
Yeah,
of supplies,
that.
though, does anybody think that they'll ever like come up with that like a supply shortage besides food will ever become a plot point? Or, I mean, like the exposition in like the like
They got rid of
extras mentions that they have like
200,000, didn't they?
no, like I'm talking about like supplies like steel because like they just like go
Definitely.
through those
Oh, okay.
blades. They go through those blades really quickly. I mean, like I know the exposition in the manga extras shows that like they have like a very rich their cities on really rich deposits of stuff, but like I'm just like curious if that'll ever become a plot point now that they're like actually
I
like
think-
using the swords and like a lot and like
Well,
the
they-
gas and they're actually like really have to fight all out now.
Well, I think they
I think
didn't
the
actually
food
have
would
to. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that I think they run out of food before they ran out of metal. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like stockpiling all this stuff for like years now, 100 years now. At one point, Armin says because they didn't have to fight the Titans for this long, the incentive of joining the military police and going into the interior was how they attracted recruits to learn the 3D gear. And so I think they have a huge stockpile of those swords and gases and all that.
Yeah, I agree. They don't even they don't use the rifles that much. If they're going to use rifles, it's mainly for crowd control. You know what I mean? So since they don't need to use metal that much, and since they don't need to use that metal that much, I don't think they're. Go ahead.
Oh well, they have to make cannonballs. And
True.
then, like maintenance on that. I mean, like they don't really, like you said, they don't really have to focus on like making like parts for guns, but they have to like basically make glorified box openers or box cutters for the swords, but like they're I don't know, it just seems like if they have a kind of big army, but like that takes like I don't know, just that it just seems like I just have a hunch that it'll become a plot point later on. Doesn't mean that it will.
No, for a city of 1 million people, they definitely are. They seem a lot productive. They have this high-level technology and everything. That's surprising.
Like you think about it, like every red shirt has like 12 of those swords, so and a lot of gas too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would join the military police though. Have a nice, comfortable life or something.
Yeah.
And the only people you'd face are just other, scouts and it's pretty good.
Escort missions and things.
You wouldn't even have to deal with the public even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the garrison takes care of that. Yeah.
Also notice how there's this gap, like economic class divide between the people, because we see that once the wall collapses, we see like the merchants basically taking priority. Did you guys notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that fat merchant, he was trying to get his stuff through, and Mikasa threatened him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, actually, we see the merchant in the anime. At least we see him before. He was in a council meeting, dealing with talking about how to deal with the refugees that will show up or something like that. So it seemed like he was one of the village elders or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, do you think anything will come up with Armin's parents? Because in the anime, because I think in the manga they're just part of the like core to retake Wall Maria, but now they actually in the anime apparently they like actually went outside the wall.
Interesting.
I don't think they'll be an important part of the plot. I really don't. They'll probably be like that distant casualties. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But like I think it's nice, interesting how they're giving themselves options too.
What if we see Carla back as a Titan? Like, what would you guys think?
Oh my god, I'd be like, oh my god, Aaron, just please don't wankst about this. I mean, yes, it's completely understandable seeing your dead mother who died right in front of you just come back as like a monster that you've like hated for like the entire time or for the rest of your life after that. But like, I mean, like, oh my god, that just...
What if he gave her the same kind of shot that he gave Eren? Like, you'd think he'd want to protect her just as much as he wanted to protect Eren.
But he gave Eren the shot after the village fell, so, Yeah,
so but then he had more time with, Carla. So I don't know. It would be an interesting kind of situation, though, if we do see her as a Titan or we see her alive again.
Yeah, I feel like, whoever the villain turns out to be, whoever's orchestrating everything, it's going to be from the already exposed or already shown pool of characters. Because, I mean, Annie turned out to be somebody we met already, Ymir, Reiner, and Berthold. So I'm all looking at all the characters with suspicion. What's Connie's deal? What's Jean's deal? What's Misaka's deal? And
I think with Connie and Jean, in Sasha, it's important, and Mikasa too. It's just like really important that they are human. Because Jean, like I've mentioned, has this like really, I think, necessary viewpoint for people in the series who just like, he thinks everything's gone to shit already. He has like there's no point in even trying to fight back. He just wants to have a nice life before it happens. And then that like I think. I think Sasha, I think it's important to have actually like more human teammates, as I think if like they were all Titan shifters anyway, it'd just be kind of boring.
Yeah, probably right.
Just like suddenly everyone has superpowers now. Come on.
I mean, not just superpowers, just like Krista turned out to be somebody who's just important and she's given us this entire thing now.
No, I think
somebody like that.
I think having them as, I think having enough of. I think there are enough of people with important backstories. I think it's important from like a world building perspective to have people from a more normal background.
Okay.
In your main cast.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, plus we know something's up with Aaron's dad, so that's gonna show up.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna stress Irving. I seriously think Irving is gonna be an important part of the plot.
He already was.
No, I mean like he's involved
Coming.
with the whole
Yeah.
Titan thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he is a Titan.
That could be something because he was in the very first episode also, so he's not like a new character.
Also notice that all the Titans that make up the wall, they're all colossal. So
Mhm.
notice that it's possible that if we do see a church/king related Titan, that they might be colossal Titans and not
True.
not in the class of Annie or what's it called?
The
Aaron.
15 meters or the 3 meters.
Yep.
You mean? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, did anybody feel a little weird about, like, Castle Utgard, like, when they were attacked there? Because, like, I know they mentioned that they didn't completely slow down during the night, but it's like...
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think it was because of the ape Titan's presence. I think something
Yeah.
messes with the Titans when he's around.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, like, I think, like, that had me scratching my head, and I know that they had it set up for that. I know he set that, like, evidence up for that twist, for that shock value, but, like, I'm just a little, like, because I'm mostly impressed with the internal, like, not logic, but, like, how the universe follows its own rules, so.
Mm-hmm. I agree. For a second, I actually perceived it as a plot hole. But then I
Yeah.
remembered the ape Titan, and I thought maybe he had something to do with it.
Yeah, because there are, like, minion titans and there are boss titans, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's it for this week on Vassals of Kingsgrave. Thank you for joining us for our Attack on Titan review. I hope you guys go check it out. Stephanie, do you like to plug anything? Your Twitter or your Tumblr or your favorite podcast or something like that?
No thanks.
Yeah.
And Eli, how about you?
You guys can find me on Tumblr at Breaking Over, and that's where I just go to waste time. So you guys can find me there.
Excellent.